So do you also use Google Forms to collect the registrations of your webinars? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to send bulk webinar invitations automatically using Gmail for Google Forms lead. So over here I regularly conduct webinars and I also use Google Forms to collect the registrations for these webinars. And now what I want is that as soon as someone registers for my webinar using Google Forms, I want to send them an automated Gmail which has the webinar link. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Forms and Gmail, and we are going to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language using an amazing automation software which is Pabbly Connect. So if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to come with me towards my screen. Welcome to my screen everyone. In this video I'll show you how to automatically send emails to everyone who registers for your webinar via Google Forms. So to do this, we are simply going to open a new tab and I'm just going to look for the landing page of Pabbly Connect simply by searching pabbly.com/connect in my browser. Now it is opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, and Pabbly Connect is an easy to use automation tool using which we are going to create a connection between Google Forms and Gmail. And how are we going to do that? For that you have to stick to this video till the end. But before we move on further, I'll just show you something really helpful. This is the Pabbly community where automation users, business owners and marketers connect. Pabbly community is a space where users share their ideas, solutions and workflow tips. So if you are stuck at any step, the community is a great resource for guidance because we have experts in this. And if you also want to join this amazing community, the link is given in the description box below. Make sure to check it out. Alright, I'm just going to move in further and create this automation. For that, I'm just going to go back towards the landing page of Pabbly Connect, and over here we're just going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can simply click on this sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here, I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this button which says sign in. And once I'm just going to click on this sign in, it is going to open all Pabbly apps. And we're going to see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video, we're going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connect account. And once I'm just going to click on this access, now it is going to open the dashboard of my Pabbly Connect account. And to get started, I'm just going to simply click on this button which says create workflow. And once I'm just going to click on this button, it's asking me to select the workflow builder, the new one or the classic one. So the new one is faster, flexible and ideal for those who want a modern interface, while the classic one on the other hand has a stable and a familiar approach and ideal for those who want a tried and tested setup. So you can use any one of this. I'm just going to use this new one, so I'm just going to go towards this select of the new one. Now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here on my dashboard you can see multiple folders which I've already created in which I save my workflows. So if you also want to create a new folder, you can simply go towards this create new folder button and create your own. I've already created many, so I'm just going to save my workflow in one of these only, which is automations, and now I'm just going to name my workflow as send bulk webinar invitations automatically using Gmail from Google Form leads. And then I'm just going to simply click on this button which says create, and once I'm just going to click on this create, it is going to open the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So trigger starts the process and the actions are results towards the same, and in order to get the actions, we first have to set up this trigger. So to set up this trigger, I'm just going to go towards this add trigger button, and now I'm just going to simply select my trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm just going to simply select it as Google Forms right over here. So I'm just going to search for Google Forms and then I'm just going to simply select it. And now for the trigger event, I'm just going to simply select it as new response received and click on this connect. Now it is giving me a webhook URL in order to create a connection. between Google Forms and Pabbly Connect. Alright, so I'm just going to copy this webhook URL. Then I'm just going to open my Google Forms. And what you have to do is you have to make sure that the last question should be required. I'm just going to let you know further why I have mentioned this. Alright, now we have to go towards this responses right from here. And as you can see, all the responses are captured right over here. But what you have to do is you're going to get the option of link with sheets right over here. If you haven't linked your Google Forms with your spreadsheet, you're going to get the option of this link with sheets right over here. I have already linked my Google Forms with my spreadsheet, so it is giving me the option of view in sheets. Alright, so what you have to do is if you are getting the option of link with sheets, you simply have to click on link with sheets and automatically a spreadsheet something like this will open. And we're just going to create a connection between Google Forms and Pabbly Connect using this spreadsheet only. So what we have to do is we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And now what we have to do is we simply have to search for an extension right over here, which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So I'm just going to search for the same extension, and as you can see that I have already installed this extension. So if you haven't installed this, you first have to install this extension right over here. And after installing this extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. It is a really important step to refresh your spreadsheet. And after doing this, what you have to do is you have to go towards this extension and Pabbly Connect Webhooks will appear right over here. So you have to go towards this Pabbly Connect Webhooks and then towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, it is going to ask you for the webhook URL and the trigger column. So you simply have to copy this webhook URL and paste it right over here in this webhook URL field. And then for the trigger column, you simply have to enter the trigger column, which will be your final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards your webhook URL. So this is the reason why we made the last question as required one, because the last question will be our trigger column right over here in our spreadsheet. So yes, I'm just going to simply enter my trigger column and click on this button which says submit. And once I'm just going to click on this submit, yes, you're going to see over here it is going to say setup configured successfully. And now with this, we have successfully created a connection between Google Forms and Pabbly Connect. And now it is saying waiting for webhook response. And in order to capture this webhook response, we simply have to do the test submission. For that, I'm just going to click on this button which says send test. And it is saying test data sent successfully. So with this, we have successfully received the test data right over here in my workflow. Yes, you can see that I already had the response details right over here. That's the reason it has sent this first row towards my workflow as the test data. If you don't have these details, you first have to fill in this form and do the test submission, and then you have to click on send test. And now we have successfully created a connection between Google Forms and Pabbly Connect, but this is not it. You have to go towards this extension Pabbly Connect Webhook, and over here you're going to switch on this button which is send on event. It is a really important step to switch on this button which is send on event, because now what is going to happen is that whenever we're going to receive a new response from Google Forms, automatically the details will be added right over here. And once a new event occurs in my spreadsheet, automatically the details will be sent towards my webhook URL, which is towards my workflow, and Pabbly is going to capture the response and trigger this workflow. As you can see that we have successfully received these details, so I'm just going to move on further, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to send them an email something like this. So to do this, I'm just going to simply add another action step, and now for the action application, I'm just going to simply select it as Gmail. So I'm just going to select it, and now for the event, I'm just going to select it as send email v1. So I'm just going to simply select it and click on this connect. Now in order to connect my Gmail account, you have to go towards this add a new connection and then sign in with Google. And after going towards this sign in with Google, Pabbly is going to ask you to select the Gmail account with the help of which you want to create this connection. So you simply have to select your account, and then Pabbly is going to ask you for some permissions. So you have to give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because your data is secure with Pabbly, no need to worry. And once you give Pabbly all the permissions, your Gmail account will be connected. I've already connected my Gmail account, so I'm just going to go towards this select existing connection and then save. And now it's asking me for the recipient email address. So I'm just going to simply enter the email address which we have received in the response of my previous step. But I'm not going to enter the email address manually by typing it like this, but instead we are just going to simply map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And when we insert the data from the previous step, automatically our data turns dynamic and change with every new response received. So I'm just going to simply map this email address from the response of my previous step, and now I'm just going to only fill in the details which are required, like this sender's name. So as you can see over here, for the sender's name, I'm just going to keep it as Pabbly. So I'm just going to simply enter Pabbly right over here as the sender's name. Now I'm just going to move on further. For the subject, I'm just going to simply enter enter this subject, which is do not miss out, learn how to automate and scale your workflows. All right, so I'm just going to simply enter this subject and move on further. Now over here it is asking me for the reply to, so this email is not a reply email, so I'm just going to leave it as blank. It is saying email content type, so I'm just going to simply select it as HTML because I want to send attractive emails like this. If you want to send plain emails, you can simply select the content type as plain. And now for the content, email content, I'm just going to simply enter my content. And as you can see that I've simply entered the email content, and now over here I'm just going to simply map the name of my registrant. So I'm just going to simply look for name, and then I'm just going to simply map this first name, put a space, and then I'm just going to simply map the last name too. And after doing this, I'm just going to move on further, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to simply click on this button which says save and send test request. And once I'm just going to click on this save and send test request, yes, you can see that we have successfully received the response that we have successfully sent this mail. Alright, so I'm just going to open my Gmail right from here, and then I'm just going to go back towards this inbox, and as you can see that we have successfully received this, and as you can see over, you're going to see the details of the webinar too. And to join this webinar, we have this join the webinar button. So I'm just going to simply click on this join the webinar button, and it is going to automatically redirect me to my event webinar. And once my user fill in this all details, automatically they'll be able to join this webinar. And as you can see that this link I've got through this Ever Webinar, and I use Ever Webinar only to conduct webinars for my business. So Ever Webinar is an automated webinar platform that lets you to upload a pre-recorded presentation and schedule it to run like a live event, even though you are not present in real time. It offers scheduling flexibility, interactive features such as polls, pop-up offers, and streamlined live chat and reminders via email or SMS to engage viewers and boost the attendance. Alright, so as you can see over here, I have used this link only, and my webinar is scheduled on 11th of August. And we're going to see that I've simply mentioned this date only in my mail. And with this, we have successfully completed our workflow. Now whenever we're going to receive a new registration from Google Form, automatically they're going to receive this link to join this webinar. And with this, we have successfully completed this workflow. But now I'm just going to first show you the proper working of this automation. For that, I'm just going to simply fill in this form. So I'm just going to simply open this, and I'm just going to fill in this form. So let's say I'm just going to keep the first name as new right over here. For the last name, I'm just going to keep it as user only. Then for the email address, I'm just going to keep it as new@pablitudes.com. Then I'm just going to move on further, and I'm just going to simply enter the rest of the details too. I'm just going to simply enter the phone number right over here, and then I'm just going to enter the organization right over here. Then I'm just going to move on further. I'm just going to select how did I hear about this webinar and click on this submit. And as you can see that I've simply submitted this and completed my registration. So now I'm just going to open my Gmail, go back towards this inbox, and refresh it right from here. And as you can see that we have successfully received this new mail, only the name has been changed. The name is Hi New User now. The rest of the details are the same, and if I want to join the webinar, over here is the link too. And yes, you can see within seconds and in real time, we have successfully sent a mail towards our registrant. And all of this is going to happen in backend. We don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. So yes, now go try this automation for your own business too, because right now we are offering a free trial of Pabbly Connect. And while trying, if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. See you in the next video with many more automation tips, everyone. Thank you for watching. So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can connect many more applications. So now if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this URL. And now go try this amazing automation for your own business too, because right now we are offering a free trial of Pabbly Connect.